So first things first, Jason, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
Good to hear.
I'm alive. I'm breathing in and out, which won't last forever. So
You gotta make the most of it.
happy to be doing it today.
Fair enough. Can you remember a life-changing moment for you musically?
Well, I didn't know it was life-changing at the time, but I remember the day I wrote I'm Yours, and it all just was, it was like it was gifted to me. I was playing a little electric guitar and playing on my favorite Bob Marley chords, almost emulating a reggae thing, and I wasn't writing about any girl or anybody in particular. I was basically singing to the great unknown and saying, make me an instrument, I'm yours, and started just singing the lyrics. And that's pretty much how I write songs. I just make things up. And anytime you do that, it's life-changing. You're like, wow, that's cool. Let me write that down. And the whole thing found its shape and form in about 45 minutes. But it didn't feel life-changing. It just felt like an awesome hour. I was like, wow, that was cool. I was like, I'm going to play that song live. And I did play it live over and over again until it just found a life of its own. So it was life-changing because it changed my life in how my songs were received and kind of gave me some notoriety, I should say. But in that hour, I didn't know just how life-changing it was.
Right. And as you look, obviously you've written many more songs, so does that feeling come often? That feeling you had when you wrote that song?
Does it come often?
Yeah, for instance, if we take now the new album, when you
Yeah.
wrote for it, did you have a similar feeling with certain songs?
Yeah. The first and the last song on the album, for example, Let's See What the Night Can Do and Love Is Still the Answer, both of those songs are written in one sitting.
Okay.
And you know when you're halfway through it, like, wow, it's all coming together and it's serving a purpose, and when it's finished, you want to sing it again and again and again, or you want to listen to it again, and you want to share it with someone, my wife especially. And if you feel it, you feel transformed, you feel changed by it, because you've just gone from the experience of I have nothing to I have something. You've just gone from am I a creator? Can I create something? To I have created something! And that's what we get as humans. That's what we get the opportunity to do, is to basically be vehicles for creation. And when we exercise that through art, we get to see it back on the canvas or on the page or on the recording tape. So it's I love art for that. And whenever I start to go down in mood, my wife goes, go create something. You know, go write me a poem. And sure enough, just writing a poem, it's like, I have created something, and I get high again. So yeah, I still get uplifted and changed by making music.
Am I right in saying that you started writing for this album around the 2016 election, and then you kind of scrapped a bunch of songs that you wrote in that period?
Yeah, and I always scrap songs that don't make, I mean, I've usually write 80 to 100 songs to find what the record is. Sorry. Some of these songs are from 2015, some are from 2016, some are from 2017, and a few are from 2018. And I just tried to write and write and write for songs that can, what I think I know can help me find my inner peace. And if I feel any shred of hope, then that's going to most likely qualify that song to be on the album. Because I want to pay that forward and pass along to future generations songs that can be used in ceremony, weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, vacations, positive memories. And so when I wrote during this time songs that were pushing back against current events and pointing my finger at whether it's something in the industry that I didn't like or something in the news or government that I didn't like, they were satisfying to me personally, but they weren't going to serve in the long run. They weren't ever going to be successful. And I know that because you can't have success by putting someone else down. That's impossible, you know. So I ended up putting songs on my record that were more like, come here, let me give you a hug, instead of get away from me.
Was there a turning point then? Was there maybe a song, maybe just a moment that you kind of felt, okay, now I've figured out what this album will be?
It was really Have It All. Okay. Have It All became the key that finally opened the door that allowed all these other songs to flood through. And Have It All was originally written in 2013 before I put the Yes album out. And it was actually thanks to my new A&R rep who went back into my pile of songs and said, well, what about this little song? I said, oh, wow, I'd forgotten about that song. And it took an outsider coming in to recognize that this song was probably ready. Because I think maybe things had just plateaued in music, and it was the time was ripe for another, I don't know, happy, you know, blissfully ignorant happy song.
And I wrote down from this Tashi Delek, which is kind of the well, I'll let you explain it.
Sure.
What does that word mean to you? Or those two words?
So, Tashi Delek is a common greeting in amongst Buddhist people in Southeast Asia, specifically in Myanmar, where I was visiting in 2012. And it was translated to me to mean, may you have auspiciousness and causes of success. So, basically a salutation amongst strangers to say, I want you to have it all. I want you to have all your dreams fulfilled. I want you to have good luck and good fortune. And I just thought that was so kind and clever and beautiful. So I wrote it in my journal and quickly tried to copy that phrase over and over again in many different ways. And found that I was quickly writing a toast, writing a longer form blessing or a birthday card or a greeting. And thought, this will be fun to rap. And it eventually became the song. So I like now knowing that this greeting among strangers that someone bestowed upon me is now being bestowed on middle school kids who are dancing to it in their hallways, you know, or graduating school, and they're receiving now an extension of this blessing. Because deep down, I think we all want our people to be happy, you know.
But, and then I agree, but I can imagine that in this day and age, sometimes the world doesn't seem that way.
Yeah.
So, especially for you, and not just the music that you put out, but the foundation that you have, and what motivates you to look at it from a more communal perspective?
Well, because my career is sustained by communities, by, you know, my career was first sustained by my family, and people in my region started to get on board, and then other regions got on board, and now there's people all over the planet that support my life in art. And I almost feel guilty for that. So it's important to me to use my powers for good and repay that to the best of my ability, to shine light on great organizations, because all nonprofit organizations need visibility and volunteers and financing. So if I can also generate funds as well as all those things I mentioned, then I feel better about what I'm doing.
And at the same time, I believe, well, having the foundation and the Mraz Family Farms, how important is that in terms of a counterweight to kind of the hectic music industry?
It's become more meaningful to me, because those are projects that I built from the ground up, and music was too, and I assembled a great team in music, and we accomplished a lot, almost to the point of exhaustion, and finally to the point of completion. You know, I finally fulfilled all of my contractual obligations in music, and I've hit all the benchmarks I could have ever dreamed. So I'm taking what I learned in music and I'm building new projects. And okay, well, let's assemble a smart, talented team around agriculture, and let's give people jobs, and let's build a new industry in agriculture in California. And let's help small farms sustain themselves, etc. And then similarly in philanthropy and in art education, let's put a team together that can help me understand the programs in Southern California that need visibility, that need help in growth, that need funding. And let's connect them to the donor community, people who want to give money, and let's connect them to artists who want to give back through art. And so basically the music industry has taught me how to do these other projects, and now those other projects are more fulfilling and more important to me.
Right. Yeah. Sounds good. Going back to the album then, because one thing that I kind of, that struck me is that, well, you mentioned it yourself, but it's a quite optimistic album in a time where I hear a lot of blaming music, like you say. So it's a song like Making It Up, where does that kind of originate, that idea of everything is possible and not to...
Well, songwriting is a form of making it up, and you can make up, and art is a form of making it up. I mean, you have a blank canvas, you're the artist, make something up. And that is a perfect metaphor for how you can live your life. If you don't like the life you're living, tell yourself a different story, you know, and get out of the story you're in and go start living a different story. It might suck and be painful at first because you might have to give up everything to start over, but it's possible. And it's also important to look back at history and realize that our founding fathers were just making it up. And they didn't do it perfect. In fact, they left a lot of people out, and they killed a lot of people in the process. And they're still killing people in the process. So why don't we make up a new story? Why do we have to stick to even our Constitution? Why can't we change the laws? Why can't we get rid of all our guns? You know, like that, to me, deserves making it up again. You know, let's start over. So the nuts and bolts of the song originated from a songwriter named Bob Schneider, who released a song of the same title. Very similar song, but it was just a different kind of song. And I went to Bob and I said, I love this song. Do you mind if I make up a version of it? He said, absolutely. So it's a collaboration with Bob Schneider.
All right. All right. My time's up, so thank
Great.
you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you.